Yo, what's going on, my guys? As you know, in every intro in the video, I hope everything is going well for you. I hope that you're succeeding on your journey. I hope that you're knocking out your goals. Springtime. It's a sunny day, beautiful weather here in the ATL. You know what I'm saying? That pollen is crazy, but it's all good. We're gonna keep it rocking and moving. All right, so let's jump right into it. In this video, I'm gonna be talking about not the differences, but the similarities between spirituality and religion, or being religious and being spiritual. Because really, you might think that there are differences and they're at odds, but they're actually more similar than what you really think. All right, so let's break down some stuff about like being religious or religion. All right, so when we're young, we're born into a family. That family usually practices some type of religion, whether that's Christianity, whether that's Judaism, whether that's Islam, whether that's Hinduism, whether that's Buddhism, the world religions. So you have that, you were young, you got brought up into that. And so naturally, you'll take on a lot of the religious rituals that you saw your family members doing. And then you just repeat, because a child just learns from the parents. So my dad is doing that, and my family go to church or go to the mosque or go to the, wherever to perform these religious rites, these rituals. Then that's what I'm gonna do. And then you might end up finding, wow, a lot of these people, they don't really even follow what their religion is talking about. They don't really adhere to it. Not all, but many, a lot of them. So then you might find, oh, this religion stuff is bogus, it's BS, it's nonsense. All of the religions have their exact holy books. Your Bible, your Quran, your Bhagavad Gita, those holy books written by the spiritual masters. Or not even really written by the spiritual masters, but written down by those who follow those spiritual masters to translate those teachings into the written word so that it could be dispersed among other people. So yeah, you're growing up and you're like, yo, this is bogus, this is BS. So you start inquiring about other stuff. You might even leave completely. You might be like, oh, this religion stuff is garbage, and then you go into the world. Then as you go into the world, you start hearing about other stuff, other spiritual type of things, and so it intrigues you. And so now we're into the spiritual aspect of it, religion and spirituality. So then you find out about things of certain spiritual practices like meditation, sun gazing, the yoga type of thing as far as body practices. So you find out, I'm just giving as an example, like these are some of the things that are spiritual, essentially, in the West, at least in the Western world. They view these things as spiritual. Now here's, in my opinion, what it boils down to, and I'm gonna use like not Christian. Let's take the Christian religion, which is really Judaism, Christianity. Let's just say, let's use that as an example, right? So for Christianity, you have the Bible. Now, you can't even find the word Christian in the Bible, but whatever, we're gonna just roll with it. So from that, being religious in Christianity means you follow Christ, let's say, Yahushua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ, Yeshua, Yeshua ben Yosef, you follow that. You follow him, the Messiah. So we go to like Matthew, for instance, and we see that, you know, the Messiah has said, oh, don't think that I've come to do away with, and I'm paraphrasing, don't think that I've come to do away with what the prophets have spoken of in the past, but I'm just here to fulfill prophecy. And also, don't think that the Torah is done away with, for heaven and earth shall not pass away until all be fulfilled. And the Torah, following the laws, statutes, and commandments of Abba Yahuwah, the Most High, is still in effect. So that's the religion aspect of it. 10 Commandments, you know, the Levitical food laws, the feast days. That's the religious aspect, you know, going by the book, the law, and following that. That's your religion, right? But as you do those things, right, you start having spiritual experiences, as it's been stated in multiple scriptures throughout the Old Testament and the New Testament. And the New Testament is really just referring more back to the Old Testament. You'll find that the righteous men, the righteous prophets of the past, they were communicated by the Most High with dreams and visions. Always, all of the prophets, the major prophets, Ezekiel, Isaiah, you know, the minor prophets, so-called minor prophets, Micah, you know, Zechariah, so on and so forth. They started having these experiences, visions, where they were able to kind of foresee things that would happen. Like, for instance, Abraham, you know, before, I believe, don't quote me on this exactly, I can't remember if it was before or after, Abram, before that was his name, and then it became Abraham afterwards. But he had a vision that the generations that would come after, they would be in slavery for 400 years. So, you know, Abraham, and this is before Moses, but I'm just using it as an example. He had visions because he was following the way of the Most High. He walked with Elohim, Abba Yahuwah, the Most High. So he started having spiritual experiences because he performed religious rites. In particular, when the Most High came and said, Abraham, show me how much you love me by giving your son as a sacrifice unto me. And when he proceeded to do that, then Abba Yah said, oh, stop, don't do it. It was a test of your faith, you know. So going by the rites in religion or by the book, doing those things starts opening up more spiritual experiences in your life. You know what I'm saying? If you really followed the 10 Commandments, if you really modeled your life after the patriarchs of old and the prophets and the messengers of old, you will start having the same spiritual experiences that they've had, dreams and visions where you can foresee certain things. And you know, you'll start having other things, like, you know, as us on this journey, SR, we know when we're retaining for long periods of time, we actually get away from the world. We start focusing more on our internal world. And so the number synchronicities, even accessing or in having heightened senses, you know, that intuition or that sixth sense, almost where when you're talking with somebody, you could literally predict the next words that they're going to say, and you say it right before them. Or they just was like, hell, how did you know that? You know, that's something spiritual in the intangible realm, the spiritual realm. You know, we were able to have a lot of these senses activated. And now, you know, not to go on too much of a tangent, but a lot of us experience certain things. I'll give you one example. I remember when, oh man, maybe this was like 2 or 3 years ago. Was just got finished working out and was walking through, finished working out, took a cold shower. So testosterone was already super duper high. The cold shower made it even higher. Now all of those hormones and I can't remember the specific name, it was going off. So, ooh, I kid you not, left the gym, walked into the mall to get something to drink, and I remember passing two females. But now the distance between me and those two females, we probably were maybe like 12 feet apart, and they're standing, I'm walking. As I'm walking now, you know, distance 12 feet apart, and now I'm walking away from them. Kid you not, I could hear what they were saying. Oh, he looks da 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 da. And I just stood there. I kept walking. I was just like, dang, this is interesting. Like, this never happened to me before. You know, and we're far away from each other. But I still heard what one of the ladies said. And I was like, yo, I was like, dang, this is crazy. So, you know, to reel it back in, there's no big difference between religion, or not even say religion, the institutions of religion, but the holy books and the spiritual experiences, you know, the rites. Because even look, let's break down a word: spiritual, spirit, and then you have ritual, rites. That's in the word. So you can't divorce the two. The ritual, the rite of in the religion, and spirituality, spirit, it's one and the same. It's one and the same. And it seems different because in the world, the times that we're in, a lot of the institutions, you know, the institution of religion, and then you see the corruption within a lot of the religions, the, you know, fake pastors, fake rabbis, fake, you know, all of the other stuff, fake in the funk. You say one thing, but you do something completely opposite. Interesting. But the two have always been one, you know, always. That's always been the thing. And in my opinion, the test, you know, you have the exoteric and the esoteric. The exoteric would be almost like your the outside ring. Like, think of it like an onion. At the outside of the onion, the exoteric, you have the institution of religion. To get to the inside of that onion, the spirituality, the spiritual significance, the spiritual message, and as to what the holy prophets were saying, you have to go from the outer into the inner. So you have to follow commandments. You have to follow those laws. You have to apply those to your life to be able to get to that esoteric, that inner spiritual wisdom. Because real talk, in all of, you could look at their Eastern religions and your so-called Western religion, or so-called East, so-called Western religions, and they seem like at odds, but they're really not. It was a good book I read several times, but it's called The Holy Science. I can't remember, Sri Swami Yukteswar. Yeah, that was his name. He lived in an Indian sage. He lived in the early 1800s. But in The Holy Science, and I'll drop a link to that book in the description, he spoke about the similarities between like Western Christianity and Eastern Hinduism, and like drawing the parallels and saying how there's more similarity than there is difference. But you have to get into the spiritual aspect. You have to get to that inner onion to be able to make the connection between the two. Because if you're just looking at it from the outside, you're like, what? There's no the religion of Hinduism and the religion of Christianity, it seem at odds. One is from the West, one is from the East. But, you know, he broke that down really, really well. And yeah, so that's my take on it, y'all. Drop some comments, you know, let's dialogue about it, because you know it could seem different, but it's more similar than you think. Anyway, stay up, my fellas. I'm gonna drop some more. Peace out.